For a long time, when I thought about freedom, I mostly thought about owning my time, not having my best hours belong to someone else, not having the clearest part of my mind used up by work that does not fully connect to the future I'm trying to build, not having to squeeze the most important things into the margins of the day. And I still want that, very much. But lately, I've started thinking about the other side of that dream. Because owning my time sounds amazing, but it also means something else. It means I would become responsible for the structure that currently comes from outside me. Hi, I'm JP, and I'm starting to realize that more time does not automatically mean more freedom. More time needs more structure. Because if I lose external structure before I have built enough internal structure, freedom could become dangerous. Not because the dream is wrong, but because freedom does not create discipline. It reveals discipline. As much as I want to move beyond my current job, I have to be honest about something. A job gives structure, even when it feels boring, even when it feels restrictive, even when it drains energy I wish I could give somewhere else. It still creates a frame. There is a start time. There are responsibilities. There are expectations. There are deadlines. There is external accountability. You may not love the structure, but it exists. And because it exists, it carries part of the burden for you. You do not wake up every morning having to invent the whole day from scratch. Some of the rhythm is already decided. Some of the pressure is already built in. Some of the direction is already given. And I think that is easy to overlook when you are focused on wanting freedom. Because when you feel restricted, all you see is the cage. But sometimes the same structure that feels restrictive is also teaching you something about rhythm, responsibility, and consistency. This is the part I've been thinking about honestly. When I imagine owning my time fully, the thing that concerns me most is not that I would become lazy overnight. That's not really the fear. The concern is losing structure. Because when external structure disappears, internal structure has to replace it. No one is automatically telling you when to start. No one is automatically telling you what matters most today. No one is creating the pressure for you. No one is watching whether you drift. And that sounds freeing, but it is also heavy. Because if no one else sets the frame, then I have to become the frame. That is a different kind of responsibility. It is one thing to want freedom. It is another thing to be ready to govern it. And I think that is where a lot of people underestimate what freedom actually requires. There is a lie hidden inside the phrase, if I had more time, I would do more. Maybe, but not always. More time does not automatically mean better use of time. More time does not automatically create focus. More time does not automatically create discipline. More time simply removes excuses. And when the excuses are gone, what remains is the truth of how well you can lead yourself. That is uncomfortable. Because it means the problem may not only be lack of time. Sometimes the deeper question is, can I be trusted with more time? Can I direct myself without pressure? Can I stay consistent without someone else creating the rhythm? Can I build when there is no external system keeping me moving? Those are not small questions, because the freedom I want would not just give me more space, it would expose what I do with space. That is why I think internal structure has to be built before external structure disappears. Before I fully own my time, I need to become the kind of person who can handle owning it. That means building rhythms now, building standards now, building discipline now, building the ability to choose what matters even when no one is forcing the choice. Because if I cannot protect structure while I still have external pressure around me, I should be careful assuming I will magically protect it when that pressure is gone. Freedom will not automatically make me structured. It will simply give me more room to either live structured or drift. And I do not want to drift. I do not want to finally get the thing I prayed and worked for, only to discover that I was not prepared to steward it well. That would be painful, because then the issue would not be that freedom failed me. It would be that I was not ready for the responsibility inside it. I think this is the word that keeps coming back to me. Self-government. Not just self-discipline. Self-government. The ability to lead myself, to set the direction, to decide what matters, to keep myself honest, to correct drift early, to build rhythms that do not depend on emotional intensity. Because owning time means governing time. And governing time is not glamorous. It is not the exciting part of the dream. It is not the part people usually imagine when they think about freedom. But it may be one of the most important parts. Because without self-government, freedom can quickly become disorder. You can have time and still waste it. You can have options and still avoid the right thing. You can have space and still fail to build. That is not what I want. I want freedom that is structured enough to produce something. Freedom that can carry responsibility. Freedom that does not collapse because the outside pressure disappeared. This is where I'm starting to look at my current season differently. I still want out. I still want the ability to give my best hours to my own work. I still want the freedom to focus fully on what I'm building. But I also have to recognize that this current season is training me. Even the parts I don't like. The limitations are training me. The limited hours are training me. The mental fatigue is training me. The need to keep showing up, even when I don't feel like it, is training me. The fact that I have to build inside constraints is training me. And I do not want to waste that. Because if I can build structure here, when time is limited and energy is imperfect, then maybe I am becoming the kind of person who can handle more time later. Maybe this season is not just delaying freedom. Maybe it is preparing me for it. That does not make it easy, but it gives it meaning. The more I think about it, the more I realize that the freedom I want requires a certain kind of man. Not just a motivated man. Motivation is not enough. Not just an ambitious man. Ambition can still be chaotic. Not just a man who wants out. Wanting out does not automatically mean you are ready for what comes next. The kind of freedom I want requires someone structured, reliable, self-led, someone who can work without being watched, someone who can rest without drifting, someone who can plan without becoming rigid, someone who can keep faith, family, discipline, and work in the right order. That is the kind of man freedom requires, and that is the kind of man I need to keep becoming before the freedom arrives. Because if I arrive before I am ready, the dream could expose weaknesses I should have dealt with earlier. I think this is the biggest shift. Freedom is not just something to reach. It is something to steward. That changes the whole dream. Because stewardship means responsibility. It means I do not get to treat freedom casually. It means I do not get to say, once I have my time, everything will work itself out. No, if I ever get to own my time fully, I need to handle it with care. I need to treat it like something valuable, something prayed for, something built for. Something that can either be multiplied or wasted, depending on how I use it. That thought sobers me, in a good way, because it reminds me that the goal is not just getting out of the current structure. The goal is becoming trustworthy enough to build the next one. I still want freedom. I still want to own my time. I still want my best hours to go toward the work I'm actually building. But I'm learning that more time is not automatically freedom. More time needs more structure. Because if external structure disappears before internal structure is strong enough, freedom can become dangerous. So maybe part of this current season is not just waiting. Maybe it is training. Training me to build rhythm. Training me to govern myself. Training me to become reliable before more is placed in my hands. And if that is true, then the goal is not just to get free. The goal is to become the kind of man who can steward freedom well once it comes. I'm JP, and I'll see you in the next one.